After 50, many women look in the mirror and wonder why the colors that once gave them life now seem to steal it away. A blouse that made you shine at 40 suddenly makes you look tired at 60. A scarf that once brought out your sparkle now seems to wash you out. Have you ever caught yourself staring at your reflection and thinking, "What changed?" It is not your fault. It is simply the way our skin, our hair, and even the light around us evolves with time. But here is the part that matters. You can take back control. You can choose colors that do not drain you but honor you, that do not whisper fatigue but sing of dignity and presence. Welcome to Golden Elder Days, where beauty grows deeper with time and wisdom walks hand in hand with style. Here, we do not chase fleeting trends or worry about keeping up with someone half our age. We focus on grace, confidence, and the quiet strength that only experience can give. In today's video, we are going to explore something that often hides in plain sight. 7 colors that may be working against you without your even noticing. These shades do not just dull your wardrobe, they can dull your spirit. But do not worry, I will not simply tell you what to avoid. I will show you what to wear instead, so that your presence feels elevated, radiant, and unmistakably alive. Before we begin, I would love to hear from you. Share your age in the comments, tell us where you live, or even just type the number 1. Your story matters, and you never know who you might inspire. And while you are here, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. So, are you ready to find out which colors may be holding you back? Let's walk together through 7 shades that can make you look invisible and discover the ones that bring out your grace and vitality. Number 1. Let us begin with a color that so many women reach for because it feels safe. Muddy brown. On the surface, it seems harmless. After all, brown is neutral, practical, and it pairs with nearly anything. But the truth is, not all browns are created equal. The kind of brown I am speaking of is that dull, dusty shade that resembles dried mud on a path after rain. Have you ever slipped one of these pieces on and suddenly felt your reflection lose some of its brightness? That is the silent effect of muddy brown. Why does it work against us? Color has a way of shaping perception. Studies in color psychology suggest that brown represents stability and tradition. But when the shade is muted, it takes on a lifeless quality. Instead of offering warmth, it reminds the eye of dirt, dust, or something worn down. Worn near the face, it can pull the light from your skin, exaggerate shadows, and make you look more tired than you really are. The fabric might be perfectly clean and well kept, yet the color itself whispers neglect. No woman deserves to carry that silent message. I once knew a woman who owned a cardigan in exactly that shade. She wore it constantly because it felt sensible, the kind of piece you can throw on with anything. One afternoon, she joined a gathering of friends, all of them women in their 60s and 70s. She looked polished, but there was something about her presence that seemed muted. Later, when she replaced that cardigan with a mocha-toned version, the change was striking. The same woman, the same hair, the same warm smile, yet suddenly people turned their heads when she entered. Her eyes looked brighter, her skin softer, and her spirit more alive. Nothing in her life changed, only the color. So, what can you do if your closet is lined with browns that fall flat? Do not panic. Brown is not the enemy. The secret lies in choosing the right tone. Reach for mocha, a shade that feels rich and inviting. Try hazelnut, which carries a hint of golden warmth. Slip into caramel, soft and elegant without being dull. Or let cinnamon be your choice, earthy yet full of life. These shades flatter silver hair, bring out natural highlights in the skin, and offer dimension instead of dullness. Brown can feel safe, and safety has its place, But you deserve more than safety. You deserve colors that honor your glow, not bury it. The next time you are about to put on that old cardigan or blouse, ask yourself, does this color make me look grounded, or does it make me fade? Choose the browns that lift you, and you will see how quickly your reflection begins to shine again. Number 2. Now let us turn to a color that has been celebrated for decades as the miracle worker of fashion: black. For many of us, it has been the go-to shade for every occasion. It is slimming, timeless, and instantly chic. But here is a question worth asking. What happens when black no longer looks sharp, but instead looks tired? The answer is simple. It begins to drain rather than elevate. When black is crisp and saturated, it frames the face with authority and elegance. Yet, over time, fabrics fade. A cotton blouse that once gleamed like wet ink slowly loses its depth after countless washes. The surface grows matte, the fibers look dull, and suddenly, what was once a symbol of sophistication now whispers fatigue. Psychologists note that true black conveys power and confidence. But when the pigment weakens, the effect reverses. Faded black absorbs light unevenly, exaggerates shadows, and highlights fine lines. Instead of mystery, it leaves exhaustion. Picture this: a stretched black t-shirt pulled from the drawer, neckline a little loose, tiny bits of lint clinging no matter how many times it is brushed off. That shirt may be comfortable, but does it really honor your reflection? Now, imagine replacing it with a silk blouse in deep black, smooth and structured. The very same woman stands taller, her eyes brighter, her presence undeniable. Nothing changed except the depth of the shade and the quality of the fabric. I once had a friend who clung to a faded cardigan because she believed black always worked. One evening, she wore it to a family dinner. Her daughter, without malice, asked if she was feeling unwell. That question hurt. A week later, she invested in a tailored black jacket in ponte knit. The transformation was immediate. Relatives who had not seen her in months asked if she had been on vacation. That is the quiet power of choosing black that is still alive. So what are your best options when black begins to betray you? Start by investing in fabrics that hold color better. Satin, crepe, ponte, or velvet maintain depth far longer than cotton or jersey. If you notice your favorite pieces beginning to fade, let them go with gratitude. Black is not meant to be lifeless. You can also explore colors that carry the same strength without the same harshness. Charcoal gray offers structure while feeling softer on mature skin. Navy blue flatters with vibrancy and pairs beautifully with silver jewelry. Espresso brown is grounded and warm, a subtle alternative that still feels rich. The lesson here is simple. Do not fade with your black. Stay luminous. Your wardrobe should echo the strength you have earned, not diminish it. When you stand in front of your closet and reach for that old faded shirt, pause and ask, does this support my presence, or does it pull me down? If it is the latter, choose a shade that helps you rise. And now that we have looked at black, let us move to another color that can betray us quietly. Number 3. White has always been considered the queen of elegance. At its best, it looks clean, radiant, and timeless. A crisp blouse or a soft sweater in true white has the power to lift the face, brighten the eyes, and whisper sophistication. But what happens when white is no longer fresh? Have you noticed how a once perfect blouse begins to look slightly beige after years of wear? Or how the collar of a favorite shirt picks up faint discoloration no matter how carefully you wash it? That is when white stops flattering and begins to betray. Why does this happen? The science is fairly simple. Natural oils from the skin, traces of deodorant, and even the environment slowly change the fibers. Bleach can weaken the fabric and cause yellowing over time. Storage in plastic bins or against wood can add stains that never quite wash out. Psychologists often describe white as a color of purity and clarity. But when it turns dingy, it tells a different story. Instead of suggesting refinement, it gives the impression of neglect. It dulls the complexion, makes the teeth appear less white, and can even exaggerate shadows under the eyes. I remember a woman who adored her ivory blouse. She wore it to church, to lunches with friends, and on evenings out. At first, it was a piece that made her glow. But after years of faithful service, it began to lose its luster. The fabric dulled into a pale yellow cast, and she could not see the change because it happened gradually. One afternoon, she tried on a new crisp cotton blouse in optic white. The difference was startling. She looked rested, her hair seemed brighter, and her skin took on a light it had not shown in years. All that changed was the color. So, how can you keep white working for you rather than against you? First, know when to let go. If a blouse has dulled past recovery, thank it for its service and release it. But if you love a piece, treat it well. Soak it in OxyClean to remove buildup. Add lemon juice to the wash for a natural brightener. Some women even use a bluing agent, which restores the crispness that the eye reads as freshness. Choose fabrics that hold up better, like high-quality cotton or linen blends. These details may seem small, but they make a world of difference. And do not forget alternatives. White does not only mean optic white. Ivory can be soft and forgiving, flattering warmer skin tones. Oyster or bone offer subtle elegance without harshness. These shades still suggest clarity, but in a more nuanced way. They pair beautifully with silver hair and with natural complexions that benefit from gentle warmth. White should say clarity, not tiredness. When chosen well, it honors your presence and tells the world you are intentional, cared for, and fully alive. So next time you reach for that blouse that has lived too many seasons, pause and ask yourself, is this piece still lifting me, or is it quietly pulling me down? If the answer is the latter, give yourself permission to refresh. And now, let us move from quiet whites to the opposite extreme. What happens when color is not faded or dingy, but so loud it shouts over you? There was a time when neon felt exciting. Bright pinks, screaming yellows, and electric greens looked daring on a dance floor or at a summer party. Many of us wore them in our 20s without hesitation. But what happens when those same shades show up in a wardrobe after 50? Instead of fun, they can feel jarring. Neon does not age gracefully. On mature skin, it often magnifies what we would rather soften. The reason lies in contrast. Science shows that extremely bright colors create sharp visual edges. On younger faces, that contrast looks playful. On older skin, it highlights texture, uneven tones, and fine lines. Have you ever noticed how neon draws the eye not just to the fabric, but to every shadow on the face? What was once a youthful glow suddenly looks uneven, and instead of being remembered for your elegance, you may be remembered for the color that spoke louder than you did. I remember attending a reunion where one woman, stylish in her own way, chose a neon pink dress. She thought it would show confidence. Instead, it made her look uncomfortable, as though she were fighting to appear younger rather than embracing who she was. People noticed the dress, yes, but few noticed her. The color had stolen the spotlight. Later, she switched to a soft blush rose for another event. That time, she walked in and the room seemed to pause. Her face lit up, her hair looked radiant, and her friends complimented her glow rather than her clothes. That is the difference. So what colors work better than neon when you want to be seen for the right reasons? Mustard carries warmth without shouting. Goldenrod offers cheer but in a dignified way. Olive is earthy and grounding, a perfect partner for silver jewelry. Emerald brings richness that flatters without overpowering, and blush rose adds a feminine softness that says confidence without trying too hard. These shades do not compete with you, they support you. Elegance whispers. It never shouts. If a color feels louder than your presence, then it is not serving you. Ask yourself, does this shade highlight me or hide me behind its volume? Your beauty does not need a megaphone. It needs light and balance. And since you are still here with me, let me take a moment to thank you. Your time matters, and I am honored you are spending it with me. If you are finding value, leave a comment below. Tell me where you are watching from, or even just type the number 1. And of course, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what comes next. Now, let us move to another color that is not loud but can quietly erase you instead. Number 5. Now let us pause with a color that so many women consider safe: gray. It has a reputation for being balanced, practical, and modern. And yes, the right shade of gray can absolutely be chic. But not all grays are created equal. Flat gray, the shade that looks like plain concrete, is one of the most unforgiving colors in a mature wardrobe. Why is that? Because it lacks both depth and warmth. Psychologists who study visual impact often point out that our eyes see contrast and subtle energy in color. Flat gray gives neither. On fabric, it can resemble hospital uniforms or pajamas. Worn near the face, it can draw out every shadow, while failing to give back any brightness. Instead of elegance, it signals fatigue. Instead of polish, it whispers indifference. Have you ever put on a gray sweater, only to realize that your reflection looked duller, almost as if you were fading into the background? That is the effect of flat gray. I once saw this play out at a community gathering. A woman with striking silver hair arrived wearing a plain gray cardigan. She was warm and lively in conversation, yet visually she disappeared. Her hair and cardigan blended into one flat field of color. She later tried a charcoal jacket with a simple silver brooch, and the difference was startling. The same woman who had looked almost invisible earlier suddenly looked luminous. Her eyes caught the light, her hair glowed, and she became the center of the room without raising her voice. The only change was the depth of her gray. So, what are the better options? Heather gray is a wonderful choice. Its subtle texture adds movement, so the eye does not read it as flat. Taupe carries gentle warmth and feels modern yet approachable. Charcoal provides drama without harshness, and pairs beautifully with silver or pearl jewelry. And greige, that soft mix of grey and beige, flatters many skin tones with a quiet sophistication. These shades support rather than erase. They hold contrast and dimension, which keeps your presence alive. Grey should ground you, not erase you. If you ever question whether a garment is the right shade, stand in front of a mirror and ask, does this piece reflect my strength, or does it make me look like part of the wall? The answer is usually clear. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. We have now looked at neutrals that can either empower or diminish. But what about colors that appear gentle at first glance, and yet still take more than they give? Number 6. Pastels have always carried a certain charm. They suggest softness, femininity, and a touch of romance. At first glance, they seem harmless, even timeless. But here is the truth. Not all pastels are equal. The pale, chalky versions known as Ashy pastels can quietly drain a woman's presence, especially after 50. Why? Because these colors lack vibrancy. They sit on the skin like a thin layer of dust rather than a veil of light. There is a scientific reason for this. As we age, our skin naturally loses some of its pigment. Hair often turns silver or white. Lips become paler. That means our overall coloring grows softer. When a washed-out pastel is placed against already delicate tones, the result is simply more dullness. Have you ever tried on a baby pink sweater that looked lovely on the hanger, only to find that it left your face looking tired? That is the silent sabotage of Ashy pastels. I remember one woman who wore a pale lavender blouse to a book club. She loved the shade because it felt gentle and non-threatening. Yet every time she glanced at herself in the mirror, she thought she looked unwell. A friend suggested she try a deeper lavender with a hint of blue undertone. She laughed at first, thinking it would be too bold, but when she finally tried it, the difference was remarkable. Her eyes looked brighter, her skin fresher, and the compliments poured in. It was not the blouse that changed her, it was the right version of the color. So, what should you reach for instead? Choose pastels with life in them. A clear blush pink carries warmth and flatters nearly every skin tone. Lavender with blue undertones brings out the brightness in cooler complexions. Spring green or aqua feels fresh and youthful without tipping into cartoonish territory. Peach coral is another beautiful option. It adds glow and warmth without being loud. Each of these shades is soft but never weak. They whisper femininity while still giving back light. Pastels can revive you if they carry warmth and clarity. The next time you are tempted by a chalky mint or a powdery pink, ask yourself, does this shade lift my face or blur it? If the answer is blur, leave it on the rack. You deserve colors that highlight your spirit, not ones that make you look like wallpaper. We have now uncovered how dull or chalky shades can steal vitality. But there is one more mistake many women make, often without even realizing it. It is not a single color, but a habit. Matching every piece from head to toe. Let us take a closer look at why overmatched outfits can flatten style and how to bring harmony back instead. Somewhere along the way, many women were taught that true style meant the purse, the shoes, the scarf, even the lipstick, all had to be the same shade. It felt orderly and safe. But when every piece is identical, the result can look rigid and dated. Instead of showing depth, it flattens the entire look. Why does this happen? Style experts will tell you that the eye naturally enjoys balance, not uniformity. When every element of an outfit is locked into one color, there is no place for the gaze to rest. It can feel stiff, even costume-like. And in a world where fashion has moved toward effortless ease, overmatching can whisper that someone is stuck in the past. Have you ever seen an outfit where everything was so perfectly coordinated that it seemed more like a uniform than a reflection of personality? That is the risk of overmatching. I recall a woman who attended a wedding dressed in deep burgundy. Her shoes, clutch, dress, necklace, and even lipstick were all the exact same shade. She was elegant in spirit, but the overall look felt forced. People noticed the coordination more than they noticed her. Later, she chose a similar dress but softened it with nude shoes, a gold necklace, and a floral clutch that held hints of burgundy without copying it. That time she looked radiant, and her friends complimented her glow instead of her outfit. The difference was not money, it was harmony. So what are the better choices? Instead of perfect matches, think about complementary tones. A navy skirt with a soft sky blue blouse. Olive pants with a cream linen top and a mustard earring. A rose blouse with wine-colored trousers and neutral shoes. These combinations create visual conversation. They allow the eye to move with interest, giving the impression of depth and modern refinement. Textures help as well. Pair silk with leather, knit with cotton, or linen with pearls. The mix suggests intention without rigidity. Style today is about effortless sophistication, not rigid perfection. Ask yourself, does my outfit breathe, or does it feel trapped by sameness? If the answer is trapped, let one piece lead and let the others support. You are not a uniform, you are a story, layered and alive. Your wardrobe should reflect that. We have now taken a journey through 7 colors and habits that might be dimming your presence without you even realizing it. muddy brown, faded black, dirty white, neon brights, flat grey, ashy pastels, and overmatched outfits. Each of them can quietly steal light from your face, flatten your energy, and suggest something you never intended. But the good news is just as powerful. When you choose shades that honor your skin, complement your hair, and reflect your vitality, everything changes. The right colors can restore dignity, presence, and a sense of confidence that is deeply felt not just by you, but by everyone around you. So let me ask, which of these colors spoke to you most strongly today? Was it the cardigan in muddy brown that suddenly seems less appealing? Was it that old black t-shirt that has seen one too many washes? Or maybe it was a pastel blouse you have kept for years but that never really makes you glow. We all have pieces like this. They sit in our closets, whispering comfort but quietly subtracting from us. The question is not whether you own them, the question is whether you are ready to let them go. At this stage in life, you owe yourself more than safety or invisibility. You owe yourself joy, elegance, and confidence. Clothing should never erase you. It should celebrate you. Every color you wear carries a message. When you choose wisely, the message becomes clear. I am here, I am alive, and I am worthy of being seen. That is the story your wardrobe should tell. Now, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share which color you will be replacing first. Maybe you are ready to swap neon pink for blush rose. Or perhaps you will trade a tired white blouse for a crisp ivory shirt. Whatever it may be, your story can inspire another woman who is walking this same path. And while you are here, please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you never miss our next conversation. Thank you for joining me today. It is always a gift to share this time with you. Come back next time as we continue to honor beauty that only deepens with time. Until then, wear your worth and let your colors speak with quiet power. Hello there. If you enjoy gentle conversations, thoughtful reflections, and inspiring ideas about beauty, elegance, and growing into yourself after 50, then our community posts are just for you. This is where we share quiet thoughts, helpful tips, and simple reminders that you are not alone on this journey. Feel free to join the discussion, leave a comment, or simply read along and take what speaks to your heart. We're always happy to have you here.